Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and another race in the Apex Online Racing League here today. And round number 2 of season 17 is here. And if you guys did miss the first race for Australia, do check out the video and the race by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. It's only a 10 race season, guys, so you know it's important to watch every single race because it's going to be quite a short one. Therefore, each race in itself is more important than what it normally would be. Now, today we arrive here at Bahrain, round number 2 of 10 in this season, and it's a track that I quite like. It's not my favourite, but I don't mind it. It's going to be refreshing to not have to race around here against very overpowered AI, which is quite good. So hopefully racing with some people similar to my pace for a change instead of AI, but it's going to be a big challenge nonetheless because Australia, you know, if you guys didn't know, spoiler alert, you've had enough time to click off the video by now, but in Australia somehow we won the race. We got the strategy absolutely perfect. We kept our nose clean, no major battles, no crashes, and the strategy was absolutely perfect. Now for this one it's going to be a different kettle of fish because there's no rain expected here at Bahrain, which is something we got in Australia, so that automatically is going to make things a lot more even in terms of a playing field, and also strategy is a lot more restricted around here compared to Australia because everyone's going to try and go for that one-stop strategy, as that is the fastest way to go, especially because you want to try and avoid the super softs and run the softs and the mediums. So obviously with that in mind, I've selected the harder of the compounds available for this weekend. But Bahrain, we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully we can go, I'm not going to say we can win like Australia, but if we can get a good result and score some decent points, that'd be great to try and keep our championship lead, and hopefully fingers crossed that is the case. But with that being said, let's jump into the story of qualifying and let's see how things go. It's time for the qualifying report. So hitting the track here on Saturday for qualifying in the beautiful circuit of Bahrain. The night conditions are upon us, and we're going to hit the track on the medium tyres. This is something that everybody done at the start. You're kind of sandbagging in a way, and you also want to try and get some laps in on the medium tyre. Admittedly, my strategy wasn't the best. I tried to go for a run with a 1 lap time lap on the mediums, and I came back in and went for another run on the used mediums, and then I went for the softs. I should have just fueled the car a little bit more and gone for a lot of laps on the mediums to really get an understanding of where the car is, the track, the balance. And to be fair, I noticed that we had okay pace. It was pretty good, but generally speaking, I felt like I probably lacked about a tenth of a second in both qualifying and race this weekend to really make the big difference. Now the pace was good, was actually quite there. It was quite strong. As you can see, there we go, P2 on our first lap, but then eventually people would improve and we dropped all the way down to P12. This is everyone on the medium so far, but the gap was so close. You'll see in a moment's time, and you can see by the title in the video, everyone was super close this weekend. It was remarkable, for a 1 minute 30 lap, a 90-second lap pretty much. It was incredible how close you could actually be. But we done our first lap on the mediums. I came back in, I went back out with the same set, having let some time progress and also some track improvement take place. And I was going to improve, but I got a poor exit out the final corner, and I didn't really find that much time, to be honest with you. But I knew there was a lot of time on the table. I just couldn't really get a lap together. So eventually we left it late, went out on the soft compound tyres at the end of the session. I left it 5 seconds too late. I would have liked to have crossed the line with 1 minute 30 to go to give myself time for a manual in lap. But nonetheless, as you can see, down towards turn 1, 100 metre board, down to second gear, possibly first to get the rotation, and then you want to try and go flat out through this left-hander of turn 3. I'm not quite flat through there as we now go up the hill towards turn number 4. Looking at the curb on the left-hand side as a reference point, you want to brake just before that, as I brake a little bit too early there and kind of have to take 2 stabs at the turn-in on the apex. We get good traction though on the exit as we now go down the hill through 5, 6 and 7. It's all about car setup, momentum and flow down towards the turn 8 hairpin, getting it all slowed down in first gear, having patience on the throttle to pick up the traction, and now through turn 9, which feeds into the tricky turn 10 hairpin, the hardest corner on the racetrack and the slowest corner on the racetrack, using first gear to try and bring the rear end around and rotate the front end to really make sure you pick up the maximum time possible. Very important to get clean traction out of there along the back straight, and now we brake just before the 50 metre board down to 4th gear, pick up the traction as soon as you can through this left-hander and try and keep the car flat out through the next right of turn 12, I believe. And so far the lap's okay, but there's definitely a little bit of time I left on the table as we now go into the final sector. Turn 13, important to not run wide. They're very easy to run wide and then validate the lap time, and now into finally the last 2 corners, which is kind of merges into one. 14 and 15 here. It's all about letting the car run out of one onto the curb on the exit and attacking that first part of the curb and opening up DRS, and across the line we are going to improve and we are going to clock up a lap good enough for 7th place. Ultimately not the best, and it wasn't ideal, as you can see as well. Actually, it was lucky I was able to spectate the session, but you can see Smeech here in the Ferrari. He was doing a good lap for himself, and then he actually backed off across the line and he basically timed it beautifully to get P11, because I was hoping, I could see I was in 10th place, and I was hoping that someone would actually improve, but it didn't really happen. I was hoping Smeege would be the guy to push me down to 11th so I could get a fresh set of tyres for the race, but it wasn't the case. I think Smeege had the same idea, and he didn't want to commit to his lap because he knew it wasn't maybe the best one, so he kind of backed off at the end and somehow nailed it absolutely perfectly for P11. And it was insane, because if you look at the qualifying results, the gaps were absolutely insane. THM takes a second pole in a row in the Ferrari there, and Martin G, my teammate from last season in F3, takes second place on the front row. Fair play to him. And my current teammate now, Coldo, gets third, so good result from him. Zerd, P4, Lemon there as well, doing good. And all in all, it's a very close grid, but especially, you know, that gap there from 1/10 of a second. So many guys within the same tent. It was absolutely insane, and it's probably one of the closest sessions I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. And to be fair, me as well, I had a lot more time on the table there. I reckon I had an easy 2 to 3 tenths to find if I just got a much smoother lap together. It wasn't my best lap. I didn't really feel happy with the balance of the car in qualifying, and I couldn't really get the brakes to work the way I wanted them to, but it was going to be a super close qualifying no matter how you called it, but it was a lot closer than I actually thought it would be, considering, like I said, it's a 90-second lap, and ultimately it came down to those fine margins, and you can see the grid as it is. But hopefully from tomorrow's race, starting from P10, we are going to go for the one stop. Everyone's going for the soft compound tyres, everybody avoiding the super softs, and it's going to make for an interesting race because the strategy is limited. Everyone's going to go soft medium, so it's pretty much going to come down to pure race pace and overtaking and race management. So let's see how it goes. We start the race from P10, the worst position in my opinion, considering we start the furthest back on the most worn tyres, but we're going to try and make something of it and hopefully have a little bit of fun and try and score some decent points and try and maintain our championship lead. It's time for round 2 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's jump into the race. Right, so here we go then for the race here at Bahrain as we get underway on the formation lap. On screen you can see the race strategy, pretty straightforward. Soft tyres onto the mediums here today, pretty much what everybody's going to do with the exception of a couple of people maybe who might go for a contra strategy possibly, but the one stop is the fastest way to go. You want to try and make the tyres last, that's the big thing here. You are going to suffer with tyres towards the end of the stint, so whoever keeps the tyres best is going to benefit majorly towards the end of the Grand Prix. Fuel wise, we're running just a little bit more fuel than normal because I want to try and have plenty to defend with on the straights, because it's important here. There's a lot of straights, a lot of engine power parts of the racetrack, and also I've noticed in qualifying, also in the warm-up lap already, that I made a tweak to my setup. I added a little bit more front wing. I went from level 1 to level 2 in the front wing, and that little bit of straight line speed that I lost, I could actually notice that compared to everyone around me. Everyone else was being a lot quicker on the straights, and I was quicker through the corners. So I knew I needed a little bit more fuel in the tank, just in case, on the straights I had to defend or for whatever reason. But let's see how it goes as we line up on our grid slot here. And we're going to get ready for the 5 red lights for round 2 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Here we go then. 5 red lights are on here in the desert in Bahrain. The lights are on and they are off, and away we go for round 2 of the season. And it's a pretty poor start, not the best one. No wheel spin, we just kind of bogged down a little bit as we now go towards turn number 1 here. And Smeege gets past straight away in the Ferrari. Very aggressive from the Ferrari man there. And also around the outside, Marion, I believe, in the Toro Rosso. We're 4 wide here. A little bit of contact there also on the right hand side with Rayner in the Williams, I believe. And I'm actually currently under investigation for that. We'll find out the outcome in the next coming days. But I gave Rayner some front wing damage there, but from his POV it's a little bit different to what mine is, so maybe some potential lag involved there. Nonetheless, now at our turn number 4, we've recovered P10 by getting past Marion, and now we've got Serdai here in the Mercedes who's had a poor start. He qualified P6, I believe, so he's had a poor start. We go around the outside here, and to be fair, I was making it work, and it felt really good when then Serdai ran very deep and also pushed me off the track there a little bit as well. But we pick up our first track extension of the race, and also a warning for a collision, I believe, in the process, as we now go down towards the hairpin at turn number 10, trying to hold on in front of Rayner in the Williams, who's holding on there, going side by side on the back straight, and he's got a bit of front wing damage here, but we just edge our car in front. We're going to hold the line though and not swap across just in case, and we're going to hold on to P11 here as Serdai in front has had a terrible start in the Mercedes, like I said, starting from P6, but a very crazy lap 1, and we go down the inside of Serdai here at turn 13. Brave move, considering it's only lap 1, the tyres are not in the best temperature window just yet, but we are going side by side with the Mercedes, and it's a complete drag race down towards the final 2 corners here, and we managed to get later on the brakes, hold the inside line and pick up the position, and we jump up to 10th place there. So good move on the Mercedes, but all in all a very good first lap. We didn't lose much time. We actually gained a place, to be fair. We're now into the point scoring positions, so That's not too bad. But yeah, very clumsy, lap 1. There was a few opportunities, turn 1 I tried to be aggressive, and also at the hairpin as well, turn 8 I really went for it, and I thought the one at turn 8 was going to be the one. I thought I nailed it around the outside, but the contact there with Serdai kind of ruined it for me a little bit. But either way, on to lap number 3 now. DRS is enabled as we set a personal best, and at this point I realised, looking at the train on the minimap and seeing what everyone was doing, everyone was so close for pace. It was such a close race as we pick up our first track extension of the Grand Prix there, and it's going to come down to those fine margins, the battling, picking up the scraps, strategy, keeping your nose clear, keeping your tyres in for the long haul in the race. And generally speaking, the laps were very consistent as well. Everyone was so close. On lap 6 though, I was starting to drop back from Marion a little bit. You can see in front the gap's starting to open up here, so I had to pick up the pace as we set a couple of personal bests, and I wanted to close that gap back up. And now towards the end of lap 6, you can see on the minimap there's a huge train of cars here. A little breakaway at the front of the pack, but it's going to be a very, very interesting one, this, as we get an alternate strategy recommended, which I'm not interested in. Now down towards turn 1 here. Look at that, Marion almost into the back of Julian, and that's going to open the door for me as I get a beautiful line to open up turn 2, carry the speed through turn 3. We swoop to the inside, to the right hand side of Marion there, and a very opportunistic overtake, picking up the inside line for turn 4. We're going to go nice and late on the brakes, leaving the room on the outside as we get the power down. A little bit of a tack snapper as we go side by side into the S's here, and Marion, to his credit, with a fantastic move around the outside. I kind of yield and give up and give him the space, and credit to Marion there. But then he runs deep into turn 8, and we come back underneath him once more, side by side with the Toro Rosso, and he went around the outside, and I fancied a little bit of that as well, into turn 9, now into turn 10, around the outside of the Toro Rosso. It's very close. Marion, fair play, he leaves me the room, and that right there, in my opinion, is potentially the move of the race already on lap 7. Absolutely fantastic move around the outside, and like I said, GG's to Marion for leaving me the room on the outside line there. And now on to lap number 9. You can see that some lap times are still being posted. Personal best from us, fast lap from Lemon, and we've got Marion behind us here. He's going to go for a potential move here down the inside. He's going to go for it. Yes, he does, but he kind of thinks better of it. Meanwhile, we've got Raven and Julian, the man who was battling with in the last race for the race victory. They're currently battling in front of us here, and we're trying to pick up the scraps and see if we can maybe find something here, as there's a bit of a breakaway in the pack in front, and everyone's starting to split up a little bit in terms of their overall race pace. Now on lap 10, Julian down the inside, but he thinks better of it, but by coming back into the racing line, I have to run wide, and that's going to allow Marion to get down the inside there. Not 100% happy with Julian then in that instance, because coming back to the racing line very aggressively and braking very early kind of threw me off a bit, and I could have easily hit the back of him, but I had to go wide, and that almost resulted in me in losing a position. Either way though, now on lap 10, we had Zerd in the pit lane, I believe, or someone. Oh no, it might have been Martin G actually in the pit lane, the man who started on the front row, my former teammate. He was one of the early stoppers in this race. He couldn't make his tyres last, and now, as you can see on lap 10, we've got more cars in the pit lane, I believe, here, as we're going to set some pretty good lap times, and we're currently behind Julian once again. This time Marion doesn't challenge me to turn 1, but Julian is going to challenge Raven, is he? It's going to be very close. Raven leaving the room on the inside. It's very, very close, as they almost touch, but they keep it nice and clean, and good stuff to see there from those two guys. We're trying to pick up the scraps, but still no way through, and that is what it's all about here. I'm trying to wait for something big to happen so I can pick up the scraps, as once again Julian tries to show his nose, but comes back into the racing line, and nothing comes from it, as we now move on towards the end of lap 11. And at this point, everyone was starting to struggle. Look at the minimap, everyone's in the same straight, everyone's bunched up again, and pretty much everybody pits in except for myself and also Smeege in the other Ferrari, who remember started from P11 and had the fresh choice of tyres, so he's going to have the freshest softs out of anybody. But pretty much lap 12, we've got some clean air, we're up into second place, and we're going to get a clear pit lane, so it was important this lap to really step up the pace as we pick up our second invalidation / extension of the Grand Prix. And the lap was going well until this point, where just on the right hander there at turn 12, we got loose, tapped the inside curb, which is absolutely deadly, and we lost the back end mid-corner. Luckily, it was a beautiful save, but we lost about 2 to 3 tenths there, and it's a shame because those 2 to 3 tenths made a big difference, because we was actually on for a personal best. It was looking like a very strong lap up until that mistake. As we now go into the pit lane here, it's all about getting it slowed down and not speeding. Don't make a silly mistake. We get it absolutely perfectly slowed down as we come into the pit lane. It looks like we're the only ones, so we're going to get a completely empty pit lane, so no hold ups here, and hopefully a nice quick stop from the McLaren boys will sort me right out here. There we go, not too bad. Could have been a little bit quicker, but still no complaints as we go into the medium tyres, and we're going to the end of the race now. So let's see how it goes. We're currently P5, but here come the people that pit in earlier on. and we're going to drop down a few places down to P9, but there's Julian behind us, so we've managed to overcut Julian in the Force India, but we get it horribly wrong into turn 1, completely overestimating the amount of grip I was going to have on the mediums, and we lose about a second just at turn 1 alone, which is going to put Julian right on the back of me here. And now onto lap number 14. He's all over the back of me on the pit straight, and to be fair, my tyres are still not feeling that great. The temperature's not really there just yet. It takes a while to get these mediums into the sweet spot as we overtake a car leaving the pit lane there. And down towards turn 1, Julian around the outside. We leave him in the room, and he gets to move down on fair play. Beautiful stuff. He finds good traction as well on the exit, which I can't seem to get at the minute, and he gets the job done. And we're not going to really challenge into turn 4 because I don't have the confidence in the tyres just yet, as we almost hit the back of him though, quite scarily. And that's actually going to leave an opening for Serdar in the Mercedes, but we just find enough traction to stay in front of the Mercedes and to keep the position. So no harm done there. As now Julian he's literally the man on the mission right now, and he's attacking Smeege, who's come in for mediums as well on this last lap. So he's got the freshest mediums out of everybody. Then I've got the second freshest, and then obviously Julian and Serdar have the most warm mediums. But as you can see, Julian making moves here as he gets past Smeege in the Ferrari. His mediums in the sweet spot for temperature, and mine are starting to come into the zone now, and I'm starting to fancy myself here. As you can see, Julian's actually got DRS, Smeege does not, and we're getting a double toe. But this is what I mean about my straight line speed. I lacked a bit compared to everyone around me. I think my wings weren't as low as everybody else's. But into turn 1, Julian runs deep. We try to go around the outside of Smeege here, and we just about hold on to it. We just have enough room to make the move forward, but Smeege getting the toe from Julian, hangs on the outside line, going up towards turn number 4 here. I tried to go late on the brakes as late as I could without hitting Julian. We're going to run wide here and try and squeeze off Smeege, just about picking up the racing line. A little bit aggressive there, in my opinion, from myself, but no concerns there from Smeege. I think he's okay with that move as we now move on towards lap number 16. And we're trying to chase down Julian here, but at the same time defend from Smeege behind the Ferrari. And he's starting again, in the pit straight here. Is he going to go for a lunge into turn 1? We shall find out. Yes, he does. It's a late move. We're going to hold it around the outside of the Ferrari once again. And this is not convenient because we're losing time to Julian here, and I want to try and stick with him as we go towards turn 4. Smeege once again, we go defensive very early on, around down turn 4. Can he go around the outside this time, or do we hold on one more time on the inside line? Yes, we do. The same exact carbon copy move as the last lap, and we defend once again from the Ferrari as the pressure is really starting to build here. But now on lap 16, I was trying to get an update on penalties around me, and then ironically in the process I pick up a 3-second time penalty. I wanted to ask on the radio who had penalties around me, but yeah, annoying because the sweet irony of me asking for penalties is that I ended up getting one myself as we pick up our third track extend of the Grand Prix. But nonetheless, now towards the end of lap 16 and on to the start of lap 17 here, we've got Smeege once again in the tow, and this time we are quite way far back from Julian. Even though we set a personal best, Julian's got strong paces. We've got the cars leaving the pit lane there, and we jump up to P6 momentarily as Smeege goes around the outside. It's a nice move, and to be fair to his credit, he holds it on the inside line there, and I have to run wide because I kind of got pushed off a little bit there, but it's all fair and square in my opinion. I wasn't too mad with that one as Smeege was trying to be aggressive, and I understand that because obviously we're both fighting for the position, and I had been a little bit aggressive in the last 2 laps, so it's only fair that this time, third time of asking, he gets the job done, and we have to concede the position there to the Ferrari. But so far though, things are going well, and I can tell, this is what I meant at the start of the video, we just lacked a little bit of pace in this race, about a tenth of a second, like in qualifying pace and also race pace every lap. It would have made a difference today, it really would, because we just lacked a little something to really make the difference. And in the meantime, you saw, I think that was Zerd in the Williams in the pit lane, so we jump up to P6 momentarily as we set a couple of personal bests, and the pace is still there. We're hanging on in there as Smeege closes down Julian, whose tyres are a couple laps older than his. But then into lap 21, into turn 1, you can see there Lemon behind me. He's starting to have a look, and he's got a strong pace. Behind Lemon is Krysix in the Mercedes, and he's on soft tyres, so he's pretty quick and he's a major threat. So we need to watch out for him as into turn 1 here. Smeege again holding on. I did fancy a look at the turn 1 there because I'm quite good on the brakes, but once again we hang back and we wait for the ideal moment to strike, like I always like to do. In the meantime, Lemon is getting closer and closer here, and you can see now on lap 23, Krysix has actually overtaken Lemon behind me. Just as Lemon was trying to make a pass on me, Krysix makes the pass, and also Smeege gets past Julian as well. So movements happening around me. Meanwhile, I stay where I am, but I can't help but think that Mercedes is going to be on me very soon on those soft tyres because it's going to have more grip. Meanwhile, Julian and Smeege still going at it here in front, and I just lost a bit of pace here. I lost a little bit of rhythm And it was a shame because as the two in front started the battle, I was hoping to cash in on that battle, but it never really happened. And now on lap 24, here comes Crysis in the Mercedes, and I'm not going to fight too hard because he's got way more grip than me, and I'm kind of hoping he can lead me towards the two cars in front if they keep on battling. A little bit of contact there in the process, but still a very clear move from the Mercedes, and we give him the room to get the job done. And I'm going to try and follow him now for the next few laps, but it does feel like I'm running out of pace, and you can see on lap 26 now, we are struggling a little bit here as Crysis got his foot down, and so did Julian and Smeege, and now Lemon is finally going to go for the move here around the outside of turn 1. We're going to leave the room just about on the outside line. Lemon also leaving me room on the inside, but he gets the job done. He's got more pace than me, and it's all fair, and a good move from him. Also, Simidiot behind, he's on soft, so he's going to be on to us pretty soon if we don't pick up the pace, because we are struggling a little bit at the moment. So as you can see on lap 27, we pick up another track extension there, our 4th one of the Grand Prix, trying to keep up with Lemon. And Crysis has now made the move on Smeege and Julian. But now towards the end of lap 28, you can see here we've got, I believe that's Crysis making a move on THM and also Smeege. Julian's tyres are going off, and pretty much you've got the battle here I've been waiting for the entire race. We set a personal best on the penultimate lap of the race to try and catch up to these guys, and it's a 5-way scrap here for, I believe, P4 in this race, or P3 even, for the podium. So as you can see, it's all kicking off 4 wide through turn 2, and we time this beautifully. We find a little pocket of space, but we just get boxed in here, and I can't carry the momentum up the hill towards turn 4. Luckily, no front wing damage as we try to turn in. As Lemon turns across, I have to turn across as well, and I just about leave Smeege enough room. It's a bit of a squeeze, to be fair, but Smeege found a way through. We got around the outside, though, of turn number 5, or turn 6, I believe. Really nice move there, and now down towards turn 8. I thought I had it covered, but Smeege goes down the inside, and we switch back underneath. We read the move, and really close racing between myself and the Fryman here as we go down towards turn number 10. Can we go around the outside one more time here? Oh, it's so close, but we are going to go for it. Smeege leaving me the room, and I leave him the room on the inside line, and we are side by side still on the back straight here. Last lap of the Grand Prix, the battle for P7 as we now go around the outside. A little bit of contact there, and we get put onto the curb. I thought Smeege ran a little bit wide there. I think he understeered a little bit, and that kind of pushed me onto the curb, and some idiot in the Force India got past. So fair play, very opportunistic move, also on the soft compound tyres. And we're currently P9 here, and obviously we know we've got the 3-second time penalty to our name, so it's important to try and pass as many cars as possible because you don't know who has a penalty. And into the final corner, I roll the dice, I get it wrong because I get my line wrong, and I lock up. I was hoping to get a switchback through the final corner, but it's not enough, and up to the line it's going to be P9, but with the penalties into account, we're going to drop down to P11 in this race and not score any points. But what a crazy race. Literally, that battle on the last lap could have been 3rd place for a podium, or it could have been P11 where I finished. It was absolutely incredible, and ultimately that's what I said it came down to. The pace. Everyone was so close this race, and this is what I meant by if I could just found a 10th in qualifying and a 10th in the race in terms of just overall pace, it would have made a big difference in the overall performance. So yeah, all in all, no complaints. It was a really fun race, really intense race, and not much you really can say about that, and you can't really hate on that too much. Good news is, though, in the race results, my teammate Coldo picks up his first win, so 2 out of 2 from McLaren in terms of race wins. And then we've got Martin G, the man that started on the front row, gets a front row, or should I say a 2nd place finish. That doesn't really make much sense, but THM, the man on pole, finishes P3, so those 3 guys really strong this weekend, and fair play to them. Some idiot P4 in the Force India, really good performance because he was literally outside the points the entire race and then came through right at the end, and really good race from him. Smeege P5 in the Ferrari as well, the man we was battling on the last lap. It just goes to show, we finished 11th with the penalty, yet Smeege and some idiot got 4th and 5th. It just goes to show that if we just hadn't had the penalty and a bit more luck on the last lap, it could have gone any way. We could have had 3rd place that race. It could have happened if we just timed it right, because THM was in that battle as well. So amazing how that race just swung on the on a pendulum pretty much in that last lap alone. But Marion there, P6, good result for him. We had a few battles with him in that race, and then also Crysis as well on the Mercedes with the soft tyres doing a good job, and Julian as well scoring points. Serdai and Lemon scoring the final point there, and we finished outside the top 10 along with Raven and Zerd, and also Rayner, who I believe I gave front wing damage, and I'm also currently still under investigation from the stewards from that one. But man, that was a crazy race. If I hadn't got the penalty, that race I should have had 3 more places, so it could have been P8 for us, something like that, P7. So, you know, could have been some decent points, and it could have been a lot better. Like I said, a podium was up for grabs, which is just insane. But either way, looking at the standings, the good news is, even though we scored a big fat 0, we're still second, and that's fine. So, yeah, we've got 3 drivers on 25 points, which is insane. But either way, we're still second. We're holding on there, and Coldo leads the way. So it's a McLaren 1-2 and a Ferrari 3-4, and we're looking pretty strong so far. And I'm very, very happy with that. Hopefully, you know, we scored a 0 here when it could have been, you know, a podium. But with that being said, I don't mind, because it's early on in the season. We already got 1 race win, and you know, we're going to have the bad races, get them out of the way early. So hopefully in China, the next race, I'm going to try and put a little bit more practice to try and find that 10th of a second that I need. And fingers crossed, I should have better pace there. Strategy is going to be a very, very important thing around that racetrack, because tyre wear is absolutely insane. But hopefully we can do China and end on a high and try and score some decent points. And hopefully myself and Coldo can finish the race in a good position, try and continue our, you know, positions in the Drivers' Championship. And also that's going to help the constructors as well. But nonetheless, guys, hopefully you did enjoy this video. I'm currently now losing my voice after that, because that was absolutely insane, almost as crazy as Australia. So if you did enjoy the video, drop a like and get subscribed if you are new for the channel for daily Formula 1 content, and turn notifications to not miss a single video from me. And also finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next episode very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.